So we have seen so far and learned how to create single roles, composite roles, then derived roles, and also business roles. Now let us see the remaining options that are under role management and see how they are useful for us and what type of use we can make of them, right? So click on role search. Okay. So as the option states, you can search roles, right? Now keep in mind that in BRM, you only can work with the roles that are existing in BRM. So let's assume that there are roles. For example, you have these roles in the backend system, right? In the backend system, but unless you import these roles into BRM, they will not be available to you in BRM for user provisioning or for that matter, any activity. So let's go and search for a role that begin with, let's say P, okay, P asterisk. Because that's the name we gave for most of our roles. So if you see the list of roles that were created through BRM, right? This is what we created. We created single roles, we created composite roles, and you don't see the business role because the naming pattern for business role is something different. And plus we searched only for the roles with P, beginning with P. Okay, now if you look at the backend roles, you won't find these roles here, right? The fin roles are not here. So for example, MM0 role is not there, okay? SD0 is not there. So the reason is because we did not import these roles into BRM yet, but we'll see that later. Let's go with what we have to now. So once you search the roles, you get the details about the roles with, what business process, the role description, what type of role it is, what landscape it belongs to, right? Whether the current phase of the role, whether it's in complete state or generate role phase. So unless unless the role phase is complete, is in complete phase, the roles will not be available for user provisioning in ARM. Okay. Now, once you search the role, you can select the role and then do any of these activities. Okay. For example, you can delete the role if you want to. Okay. Or you can edit the role. So to edit the role, what you do is you can select the role and open it, and then go to the define role phase, the first phase, and then click on edit. Okay. And once you are in the edit mode, there are certain attributes, right? Business process or product release or sub process. You go to properties, you can assign the critical level, because we didn't do it probably, right? So now you can assign it here. And then, you can change the functional area for that matter, right? And you can assign approvers or alternate approvers if you have forgotten something here. And then you can continue, and similarly now you can go, and when you save and continue, it goes to maintain authorizations. And like that, you can make any changes you want to the role. Okay, so let's go and say continue. Continue, but if you edit it, ensure that you are taking the role up to the complete phase. So because this is a derived role and you have to mandatorily perform, you also have the derived role, but you mandatorily have to perform the risk analysis step. Let's do that. So we did that, save and continue, and generate the role, and we come to the complete stage, okay, and close it. So if you edit the role, make sure that it is in the complete phase. Otherwise, this role will not be available for you again. All right. So this is how you search. So you can search for the roles, and then if you want to edit it, you can edit the role like we just did. And then, or if you want to delete or export the role details, you could do that from this option. All right. So let's leave this page. Let's go back. Okay. So we search the roles. Now let's see what default roles does for us. So I click on the roles, default roles, and can click on create. Attribute. Let's say the functional attribute value. Let's say finance. Add. Now you can go and add the roles here, right? What type of role from, what system, right? So let's go, we take this one. And here you can give the role, the default role. So this role will be assigned as default whenever the users are assigned in this system. All right, so we are not going to do that anyway. So click and close this. Let's go to role reaffirm, right? So what is role reaffirm? So role reaffirm is basically about recertification of roles for users. Okay, so what does this let you do, right? So when you do the role recertification, what it does is it basically allows you to periodically review the role content and the definition. Okay, then it allows you to, it allows you to send email reminders to role owners based on the certification period. So when we created the role, remember in the role reaffirm section, we entered 180 days. So what we are saying in that case is that after every 180 days, email reminders are sent to the role owners. Okay, so that is why it is mandatory that you, for every role that you create in BRM, you create or you assign role owners. So this is where we did that, right? So let's quickly go there again, pick a role and do it. So go to PF, say search. Now pick a role, say open. So we are talking about this. Under properties, you have this role reaffirmation period, the certification period. So this is the number of days after which email reminders will be sent to the role owners. Okay. So this is why this is very important that you maintain the number of days and you also maintain the owners and approvers. Okay. So because the system needs to know who should get the reminders, right? So let's close this. We can go back to role reaffirm. Okay. So depending on, what the data, where the roles are assigned and all, you'll get the user lists here. And then you can always, the role approver would all can approve and remove the role or put it on hold, whatever they want to do, add comments and all. And to, they'll review whether or not the user should keep that role or, or not. So if the role owner say, okay, the user can keep the role, they can approve the role. Reapprove the role basically, or if the role owner feels the user should not keep the role, they will say remove the roles. Okay, so this is something similar to some user access review, and in short UAR. Okay, except that the role is certified instead of the user assignment in this case. Okay, in role recertification. And role recertification, can be tracked for audit purposes also. Okay, so we don't have the data, so we're not working with, we are not doing anything in this section. but this is basically for role recertification purposes. Okay, so where the role owners decide whether a user should keep a role or not. All right. Okay, so we finished the role management section. Now let's go and do see what these options are. Okay, under role mass maintenance.